The FBI never intervenes in an ordinary death. But when Gene Hackman, a Hollywood legend, was found dead, they arrived immediately. Not the local police, not a routine homicide investigation, but the federal investigative agency. And right there, in Hackman's mysterious attic, a room that didn't exist in any real estate records, the FBI found something that made them instantly seal off the entire area. Inside, they discovered a hidden safe, a USB drive labeled "Nightmare Files," and journals filled with terrifying warnings. These discoveries turned what seemed like a natural death into a national mystery. So, what exactly was inside Gene Hackman's attic? Why was the FBI so particularly interested in what they found? 1. The loft and the secret safe. From the moment the FBI began their investigation at Gene Hackman's residence, one detail immediately caught their attention: an attic that was not listed in any real estate records. This meant that the attic was never officially a part of the house's blueprint. It may have been modified and concealed by Hackman for years, completely unknown to the outside world. When the investigative team entered, they found the room covered in dust, yet there were clear signs that someone had been there not long before the incident occurred. At the center of the attic stood a heavily fortified safe, carefully hidden behind a large bookshelf. This was no ordinary safe. Its design resembled those used by banks or military institutions. This raised an urgent question: what was Hackman hiding that required such an advanced level of security? The FBI immediately attempted to open the safe, but it was not an easy task. This was not a typical mechanical lock. It used a sophisticated digital encryption system, accessible only through a precise code or specialized equipment. This heightened the mystery even further. Why would a retired actor require such a highly secure storage system? After hours of effort, the FBI forensic team finally managed to unlock the safe. What they discovered inside left the entire investigative team stunned. Inside the safe, they found a large number of documents marked "Top Secret," many of which bore seals from government agencies and influential organizations. Some documents contained names that anyone would recognize: Hollywood elites, high-ranking politicians, billionaire business moguls. But what truly shocked the FBI was that these documents were tied to a series of scandals that had never been made public. Some of these cases had been intentionally buried by the media, while others had been dismissed due to lack of evidence and faded into obscurity over time. It was now clear that Hackman had not only been in possession of Hollywood's darkest secrets but also of classified information that, if exposed, could have severe consequences. Alongside the classified documents, the safe also contained a series of Hackman's personal journals, meticulously detailing his observations and experiences. One of the most disturbing aspects of these journals was the repeated phrase, "They are watching me." This phrase appeared continuously throughout the final entries, sometimes in capital letters, underlined multiple times, suggesting a state of extreme paranoia. Hackman also referenced mysterious meetings and encounters with influential figures from both the entertainment industry and the political sphere. As the journal progressed, the entries became increasingly chaotic, with his handwriting turning shaky, as if written by someone in deep distress or fear. Some pages described strange dreams and an overwhelming sensation of being followed. The question then arose: who were they? Why did Hackman believe he was under surveillance? What did he know that made him so afraid he felt the need to document it? In addition to the classified files and the journal, the FBI also found a black USB drive with a handwritten label that read, "Nightmare Files." When the FBI connected the USB to their specialized forensic equipment, they discovered that the entire drive was heavily encrypted. It was immediately transferred to the FBI's Digital Forensic Division for decryption. However, even with the most advanced tools at their disposal, unlocking the contents proved to be an exceptionally complex task. This raised an even bigger question: what was stored inside this USB that warranted such an extreme level of security? According to internal leaks from the FBI, when the contents of the USB were finally decrypted, the agents present in the room had intense reactions. Some reportedly left the room immediately, while others sat in complete silence, visibly shaken. An anonymous source from the investigation later revealed that a few detectives resigned from their positions shortly after viewing the contents of the USB. Yet, despite these shocking reactions, the FBI has remained completely silent about what they discovered. No public reports, no official statements, nothing about the contents of nightmare files has ever been disclosed. This only deepened suspicions and intensified the growing curiosity. What could possibly be on the USB that caused even the most seasoned investigators to react so dramatically? 2. USB nightmare files, the shocking evidence. The black USB drive labeled Nightmare Files was one of the most terrifying discoveries in Gene Hackman's attic. If the classified documents and personal journals were enough to prompt immediate FBI intervention, the contents of this USB seemed to be far more severe. From the moment it was found, the level of encryption on the data immediately led investigators to suspect that this was no ordinary file. Unlocking the USB was no simple task. The data was protected by multiple layers of encryption, requiring the FBI's top specialists days of work to decrypt even a fraction of its contents. However, the moment the data was accessed, the reaction from the agents in the room took the case to an entirely new level. Some digital forensic specialists left the room immediately after viewing the contents. Others maintained absolute silence, refusing to answer any questions about what they had just witnessed. Internal FBI leaks suggested that some detectives resigned from their positions shortly after the USB was decrypted, a highly unusual reaction, especially from professionals accustomed to handling the most horrifying cases. This raised a significant question: did Hackman possess evidence so unbearable that even seasoned crime investigators could not handle it? Since the FBI has not disclosed any details about the contents of the USB, numerous theories have emerged. Based on the classified documents Hackman stored in his safe and the disturbing entries in his journals, 3 major possibilities have been suggested regarding the nightmare files. The first theory is that the USB contained videos or images documenting the criminal activities of powerful figures in politics, finance, or the entertainment industry. Scandals involving elite organizations have surfaced in the past, but never before has there been a piece of evidence strong enough to bring down an entire system. If Hackman either accidentally or deliberately obtained such data, this alone could have made him a high-priority target for elimination. Another theory is that the USB contained evidence of one or more cover-ups involving high-profile crimes, possibly confessions, recordings, or documents detailing how certain incidents were orchestrated to remain unsolved. Hollywood has seen numerous mysterious disappearances, unexplained deaths, and financial scandals, where no perpetrators were ever held accountable. If Hackman had acquired proof of one or more of these unresolved cases, he may have been silenced before he had the chance to expose the truth. But an even more disturbing theory suggests that the USB was linked to a massive conspiracy that extended beyond Hollywood and into the highest levels of power. Some conspiracy researchers speculate that Hackman may have stumbled upon a secret so vast that it could reshape the public's perception of both the entertainment industry and the government. But if that were true, why did the FBI choose to cover it up rather than release the information? The way the FBI handled Hackman's case was entirely different from other investigations. No public reports, no official statements, no leaks of any kind regarding what they discovered. This only intensified suspicions that the investigation was not about uncovering the truth, but rather about suppressing it. If the USB only contained information about Hollywood, why was it classified as top secret? If Hackman was holding evidence of a criminal operation or dangerous conspiracy, who stood to benefit the most from keeping this information hidden? The FBI is an organization accustomed to handling the most complex and gruesome cases, yet their reaction to this USB was uncharacteristically extreme. Some rumors even suggested that agents declined to continue the investigation after viewing the USB's contents. This raised an urgent question: was the FBI truly investigating the truth, or were they actively covering something up? The discovery of the Nightmare Files USB not only changed the entire perception of Hackman's case but also raised even more pressing concerns about how the FBI was handling the information. Did Hackman originally own this USB, or had someone given it to him? Was he planning to reveal its contents to the public? If so, who stopped him? If this was truly a cover-up, who was orchestrating it behind the scenes? The presence of classified documents, unsettling journal entries, and a USB containing highly disturbing material completely shifted the nature of this case. It was no longer just about the death of a Hollywood legend, it was about a mystery that could shake the foundations of Hollywood and beyond. The biggest question remains: Was Hackman assassinated to prevent the truth from being revealed? And if so, who was behind it all? The FBI's silence has only fueled speculation about a controlled investigation. Did Hackman know too much, and was his death part of an orchestrated cover-up? The case continues to grow more complex as the FBI ensures that no one has access to the evidence they confiscated. While the media focused on paying tribute to Hackman's legacy, behind the scenes, one of the biggest cover-ups in history may have taken place. But one thing is certain: the truth cannot remain hidden forever. If Hackman left behind any traces of the evidence he had gathered outside of his attic, then sooner or later, someone will find it. And when that happens, all of the secrets he fought to protect may finally come to light. 3. The classified documents discovered. Alongside the mysterious Nightmare Files (USB), the FBI also uncovered a series of documents marked Top Secret, sealed and carefully stored within Gene Hackman's safe. These were not personal notes or standard financial records, but rather sensitive information involving some of the most powerful figures in Hollywood, high-ranking politicians, and influential business tycoons. The existence of these files raised serious questions. Why did Hackman possess these documents? Where did he obtain them? And most importantly, what was inside them that prompted the FBI to immediately confiscate and conceal them from the public? The moment the FBI accessed these files, the atmosphere in the investigation room became intensely charged. Agents present could not hide their unease as they flipped through the pages. This was not just information about the film industry, it contained deep connections to politics, finance, and even intelligence agencies. One of the most shocking revelations in the confiscated documents was a list of names tied to immense power, influence, and scandal. This was not just a roster of A-list celebrities, but also top film producers, renowned directors, high-ranking politicians, and billionaire moguls who had significant control over entertainment and media. Some of these individuals had previously been linked to major scandals but had never been formally charged or exposed. So why were their names in Hackman's possession? The files revealed hidden ties between Hollywood and powerful organizations, including government bodies, financial conglomerates, and even intelligence agencies. This raised an even darker question: was Hollywood merely a film industry, or was it part of a much larger system where power, money, and influence operated in secrecy? Beyond just a list of high-profile names, the documents contained explosive information on major scandals the public had never heard of. Some cases that had once shocked the world but mysteriously disappeared from the news cycle may have actually been orchestrated cover-ups. The files suggested that certain deaths of actors and directors may not have been as straightforward as reported by the media. Several alleged suicides and accidents may have, in reality, been staged to silence those who knew too much. Additionally, there were disappearances that had never been explained. Some Hollywood actors and influential figures vanished without a trace, and FBI sources suggested that they may have been deliberately eliminated. If Hackman truly possessed this kind of information, was he the only one who knew the truth, or were there others who also held the dark secrets of Hollywood? The next burning question was, how did Gene Hackman acquire these documents? As one of Hollywood's most legendary actors, Hackman had extensive connections within the industry. He had worked with powerful producers, renowned directors, and high-profile executives. Had he accidentally gained access to this information, or had he been deliberately keeping records as a form of self-protection? Another chilling possibility emerged: Hackman may not have been the one who originally gathered these files. He might have received them from an anonymous source or had been entrusted with them by someone who later disappeared. If this were true, Hackman was not just a holder of sensitive information, he could have been the last guardian of a cache of evidence powerful enough to destroy the reputation of Hollywood's elite. What made the case even more alarming was a crucial detail found in Hackman's personal writings. In his journals, he repeatedly referenced his growing concern about being watched. The phrase, "they are watching me," appeared multiple times, especially in his final entries, often underlined or written in all caps. This indicated that Hackman knew the information he had could put his life in danger. The critical question now was Hackman preparing to reveal these secrets? If so, who discovered his plans? Could his decision to expose the truth have led to his sudden and mysterious death? And if he was silenced, who orchestrated it? Since the FBI seized the documents, not a single detail has been disclosed to the public. There have been no official reports confirming the contents, nor any explanation for why Hackman had such highly sensitive files. Why has this case never been investigated publicly? Those following the case believe this could be one of the most significant cover-ups in Hollywood history. Were Hackman's files so sensitive that they could never see the light of day? And if so, who is being protected by keeping them hidden? If Hackman truly held secrets capable of bringing down an entire system of power, then his death was likely not as simple as we were led to believe. The biggest questions remain unanswered. Is the FBI really investigating the case, or are they simply suppressing everything to protect powerful individuals? Will these documents ever be revealed, or will they be permanently buried within government archives? And most importantly, did Hackman leave behind copies of these files somewhere else? If so, who has access to them? As more evidence emerges, this case grows darker and more complex. Every clue suggests that Hackman may have been eliminated to protect a secret that was never meant to be exposed. But if these documents truly exist and hold the power to change history, can they remain hidden forever? Or will the truth eventually be brought to light? 4. Gene Hackman's journal, the final warning. Among the evidence seized by the FBI from Gene Hackman's attic, one of the most valuable items was not the classified documents or the encrypted USB, but his personal journals. These were not the usual reflections of a retired actor but a chilling series of warnings, filled with fear and paranoia that haunted Hackman in his final years. The aged pages, with handwriting that became increasingly shaky and erratic, painted the portrait of a man who knew he was being watched and sensed that he was on the verge of confronting something unavoidable. One phrase appeared over and over again throughout the journal: "They are watching me." This sentence was not written just once, but appeared repeatedly across multiple pages, bolded, underlined, and even written in all caps, as if Hackman was desperately trying to remind himself or leave behind a clue for someone else to find. But who were they? What was Hackman afraid of? This question puzzled FBI investigators. Considering the classified files he had stored, it was clear that Hackman was not just an aging man battling paranoia, he had a real reason to be afraid. Hackman also wrote about strange cars lingering near his house at night, unanswered phone calls, and anonymous threatening messages. He described how he felt watched every time he left his home, how the lights in his house would flicker strangely at specific times, and how his security system had been disabled on multiple occasions without any visible signs of intrusion. It was as if someone had infiltrated his home without leaving a trace. Hackman painstakingly documented these occurrences, as if he were trying to create a record of what was happening around him, a record that he hoped someone would find if something ever happened to him. One of the most disturbing journal entries was written just 1 month before Hackman's death. In it, Hackman mentioned that he had discovered something he wasn't supposed to know. He did not specify what it was, but his handwriting was frantic and uneven, and one particular line stood out: "I don't know how much longer I can stay silent. If this gets out, everything will change." This raised a chilling question: was Hackman preparing to expose what he knew? And if so, who found out about his intentions before he could act? Hackman's paranoia wasn't just fear, he was actively considering going public. Some journal entries revealed that he was searching for a trustworthy journalist who could help him bring the truth to light. However, he also expressed deep concerns that if he spoke out, both he and those close to him would be in danger. One note indicated that he canceled a meeting at the last minute, possibly because he sensed something was off. This is a critical detail because it suggests that Hackman may have realized he was running out of time. Hackman's final journal entries became increasingly terrifying. His handwriting deteriorated into a chaotic mess, his words rushed and desperate, sometimes crossed out and rewritten multiple times. One page had been ripped out, but a small portion remained with an ominous phrase: "Do not trust anyone. They've already been inside my house." This implied that Hackman had discovered an intruder, but instead of calling the police, he chose to document it, perhaps because he knew the authorities couldn't be trusted either. The most disturbing part: the FBI never released the full contents of his journals. While it was confirmed that they had seized all of them, not a single page was made public. No official reports mentioned what Hackman had written. This only fueled speculation that his writings contained information too sensitive to be revealed. Why would a personal journal be classified as restricted evidence? Why has no one been allowed to read its contents? Could it be that Hackman had uncovered a truth too dangerous to be exposed? If what Hackman wrote was true, then his case was not just the mysterious death of a retired actor. It could have been an orchestrated assassination, part of a larger scheme to silence someone who knew too much. If Hackman was planning to reveal something, then someone must have moved to stop him before he could do so. And if that is true, then his death was not just a loss for Hollywood, it was a warning that a horrifying secret remains hidden. The biggest lingering mystery is this: did Hackman manage to make copies of these files and give them to someone else? If he did, that means the secret he was trying to protect still exists somewhere. And one day, someone might find it. Until the truth comes to light, all we are left with are questions with no answers. Who were they? What were they trying to hide? And most importantly, what did Hackman discover that made him live in fear until the very end? 5. What is Hollywood hiding? The moment the news of Gene Hackman's death broke, Hollywood's reaction raised more questions than answers. For a legendary actor who had won numerous prestigious awards and was regarded as a cinematic icon, one would expect an outpouring of tributes from fellow artists and the media. Yet, Hollywood's response was suspiciously muted. There were no grand memorial services, no deeply emotional statements from his longtime colleagues. Instead, there were only brief announcements, generic condolences, and a media blackout, as if someone wanted the world to move on quickly and not dig any deeper into the case. This starkly contrasted with how Hollywood usually honors its lost legends. When a prominent actor passes away, the industry typically holds public tributes, retrospectives of their greatest films, and heartfelt remembrances from co-stars. But with Hackman, there was nothing, no large-scale events, no industry-wide recognition, and, most notably, no mention of the mysterious circumstances surrounding his death. This silence led to growing suspicions. Was Hollywood deliberately distancing itself from the case? If Hackman truly possessed sensitive information about influential figures within the entertainment industry, his death would not just be a tragedy, it could be part of a much larger cover-up. Several actors who had worked with Hackman gave vague, evasive responses when asked about his passing. Some spoke only about his artistic legacy but avoided any mention of the suspicious elements of his death. More tellingly, some high-profile individuals who had personal relationships with Hackman outright refused to comment, further fueling speculation that they knew something but either could not or dared not say it. Alongside Hollywood's deafening silence, the FBI's reaction was equally alarming. As soon as federal agents took over the investigation, every document found in Hackman's attic was seized, and not a single detail was released to the public. There were no in-depth reports about his cause of death, no disclosure of what was found inside the safe, the journal, or the USB-labeled nightmare files. This raised a critical question: was the FBI truly investigating Hackman's death, or were they controlling the flow of information to ensure that nothing leaked? One of the biggest concerns is, who benefits from keeping the truth about Hackman hidden? If there was a powerful force behind this, it was unlikely to be just a single individual. Instead, it suggested a sprawling network of influence spanning Hollywood, politics, and the media. Individuals with vast financial, political, and industry power may have worked together to ensure that none of Hackman's documents were ever exposed. The sudden involvement of the FBI in what should have been a straightforward death investigation was another glaring red flag. Typically, the FBI only steps in when a case involves organized crime, national security threats, or a large-scale conspiracy. But why would the federal government be so interested in a retired actor's death? This strongly indicated that Hackman's passing was not just a personal tragedy but one that involved information certain organizations could not afford to be made public. Some have drawn parallels between Hackman's case and other mysterious Hollywood deaths. Actors, directors, and journalists who had attempted to expose major scandals in the past often met questionable ends. Some died in car crashes, some were found dead from suicide despite no history of depression, while others simply vanished without a trace. If Hackman had indeed been preparing to expose something monumental, then it is possible that someone ensured he never got the chance. Even more disturbingly, not only did Hollywood and the FBI remain silent, but the mainstream media refused to probe deeper. Major news outlets barely covered the case, treating Hackman's death as a brief headline rather than the potentially massive scandal it appeared to be. There were no independent journalistic investigations, no attempts to uncover what the FBI had seized, and no interviews with those close to Hackman about what he had been working on before his death. This is highly unusual. The media, especially tabloids and investigative reporters, typically seize on high-profile Hollywood mysteries and exploit every possible angle. But in Hackman's case, they were eerily restrained, as if someone had instructed them to look the other way. Given these details, it's hard not to conclude that Hackman's case is more than just the death of a retired actor. It appears to be part of a broader, more complex conspiracy. If there was a truth buried with Hackman, who now holds the missing pieces? Did Hackman manage to leave behind copies of his documents in a secure location, waiting to be revealed? And if someone else possesses this information, are they in danger, just as Hackman seemingly feared? While no official answers have surfaced, one thing is certain: Hollywood, the FBI, and the media's complete silence only intensifies the suspicion that something crucial is being hidden. And if the truth exists, it's only a matter of time before someone uncovers it. 6. Will Gene Hackman's secret be buried forever? The mystery surrounding Gene Hackman's death is not just about the passing of a Hollywood legend, it has sparked a series of unsettling questions that refuse to fade. From the moment the FBI arrived at Hackman's residence, it was clear that this was not an ordinary investigation. What was discovered in the attic, a mysterious safe, classified documents, a journal filled with fear, and the ominous USB titled Nightmare Files, all pointed to one terrifying reality: Hackman knew something he was never supposed to know. And when these discoveries were made, instead of bringing the truth to light, the FBI took complete control of the evidence. Not a single document was released, not a single journal entry was leaked, and no details about the USB's contents were ever disclosed. This only strengthened the suspicion that what Hackman had in his possession was far too dangerous to be exposed to the public. The circumstances surrounding Hackman's death are riddled with contradictions. His heart rate spiked uncontrollably for hours before he died, his security system was deactivated exactly 48 hours before he was found, and most chillingly, a black, unmarked truck with no license plates was spotted near his home just before the FBI arrived. None of these are coincidences. If Hackman had truly passed away from natural causes, why do these suspicious irregularities exist? And if his death was staged to look natural, who orchestrated it? One of the most pressing unanswered questions remains: was the FBI actually investigating Hackman's case, or were they merely executing orders to protect a far greater secret? Standard investigations usually involve official reports, public statements, or at least a summary of findings. But in Hackman's case, there was absolute silence. This radio silence only fueled speculation that perhaps there was never an investigation at all, that what happened to Hackman was not meant to be solved, but to be erased. Yet, another possibility remains: Hackman may have anticipated this. If he had spent years collecting these classified documents, if he had considered going public, then it is entirely plausible that he also had a contingency plan. This raises the most crucial question: did Hackman manage to copy or pass on these documents to someone before he died? If the answer is yes, then his secrets are still out there, possibly in the hands of a trusted individual, hidden away in a secure location, or waiting for the right moment to be exposed. If these documents ever see the light of day, they could spark one of the most earth-shattering scandals in the history of Hollywood and even US politics. They could reveal hidden relationships between powerful entities, the truth behind unexplained disappearances, and the dark underbelly of an industry carefully curated to appear glamorous. However, there is also the terrifying possibility that the truth will never come out, that whoever possesses these secrets will be silenced, just as Hackman might have been. The only certainty is that the truth cannot stay buried forever. History has shown that secrets can be concealed for years, even decades, but eventually, they always surface. The only question is, when? Looking back at everything that has transpired, it is clear that Hackman was not just an aging actor living in isolation, he may have been one of the most significant witnesses to a secret that was never meant to be revealed. Did Hackman accidentally stumble upon a hidden world? Did he possess a crucial piece of a puzzle connecting Hollywood, politics, and power? And most importantly, Was Hackman silenced to ensure that his secret would never be told, or was his death just an eerie and unsettling coincidence? With everything that has transpired, we may never fully uncover the truth. But one thing is certain, the case of Gene Hackman will not be forgotten anytime soon. The questions surrounding what the FBI found in his attic will continue to haunt those who seek the truth. Will someone, one day, uncover copies of the documents Hackman hid? Will there be someone bold enough to expose everything that has been buried? Until that day comes, all we can do is keep asking questions, keep searching for the missing pieces of this puzzle. And maybe, one day, the truth will come to light, a truth that could forever change how we perceive Hollywood, power, and the secrets we were never meant to know. What do you think about this case? Has the truth been buried forever, or will it eventually be exposed? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss what's coming next.